Hey everybody, it's Shelby. I hope you're all doing well. I have something different today. It's a bake with me doing my late mother-in-law's walnut walkaways holiday cookies. First step was to gather my ingredients. Okay, so my recipe says the first step is to soften yeast in warm water. Now this is my mother-in-law's recipe, one of my husband's favorites. Believe it or not, in the 30 plus years we've been married, I don't believe I've ever made these. And my mother-in-law's recipes don't always go into great detail on the steps, so let's hope this works. But the first thing I'm to do is to soften my yeast in warm water. And I know it's important to make sure that your yeast hasn't expired and that you're using instant yeast. That I know. So I made sure of those two things because I don't want to put in all this work and have them not come out because of the yeast. So I'm going to do that first step now. So I've never used oleo sticks before. I rarely cook with oleo, but I know it was something my mother-in-law always swore by, so I figured, again, I want to recreate this recipe exactly, so where she said use oleo, that's what I'm using. And I was able to buy it with Instacart from the grocery store in these Crisco sticks. So I thought that would be much easier than trying to scoop it out of the container and measure it, because this is marked just like a stick of butter. So it says I need 3/4 cups. Yeah, so pretty cool. And then it's nice. It came in a 3-pack and it has this little plastic resealable container. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with the rest of the oleo because I have 2 sticks left still, but I'll figure out something, I'm sure. Okay, so now it says combine flour, salt in a bowl. So I need 2 cups of flour. There's 1 cup. And that makes 2 cups. 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Now my husband needs to watch his sodium intake, so I'm just going to guesstimate, put in a little salt, and call that good. Okay, now to cut in the oleo. We actually picked up these at a thrift store, probably last month. I don't think they ever made it into a haul. I used this at Thanksgiving for the mashed potatoes. So I think I'm going to try this one. But I think it's really cute with the wood handle. So to add in, it says to cut in oleo. And then it says coarse crunchies. So, let's see, it's kind of... So I will do that step. And if you recognize my shirt, I wear this in a lot of videos. It's not that I'm filming everything on the same day. I love this old flannel shirt, and I basically wear it like a house coat or a bathrobe. So I have it on like 5 out of 7 days of the week. Okay, I think that looks like crunchies. Yeah, I think that looks good for that step. Okay, so the next step is to add the yeast and water and the egg. So I'm going to break my egg directly in. I know often you can break it into a little dish first, but I'm going to be daring. Okay, so add yeast and water and egg. Mix until blended. Yeast doesn't have the most pleasant scent, does it? Looks like a weird science experiment. Okay. I have my Dollar Tree silicone spatula here. And I'm wondering if I should put this into the mixer or do this step by hand. I think I can do this step by hand. Mix until blended. Oh, I guess this is it for the dough part. Alright, so I'm going to continue mixing this, I think, until I form it into a ball of dough. Yeah, so now I can get right in here with my hands and get it into a nice ball of dough. And my guess is, the recipe doesn't say, but I know often in working with dough and yeast products, you don't want to overwork it, because something about, like, if you warm it up too much, it can ruin how it comes out. So I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it there. I think my dough is good. Okay, so now the next step is I have to roll the dough out into 2 9x13 rectangles. So half the dough and half the dough. So I have to say I do find this part a little bit intimidating. I am going to use my pop-up parchment paper that I got at the Dollar Tree. This is 15 by 10 and a half. So I know I could do a little bit inside of this, and that will get me the 9x13 size that she's referring to. And then I have my Dollar Tree cookie sheets. So I'm going to roll it so that it fits onto this. So let's see. All right, roll out dough half at a time into a 9x13 rectangle. Going to put a little bit of flour down. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to do the best filming that I can. My kitchen is tiny, and when I say tiny, I am talking tiny. It's a galley kitchen, and so I basically have the counter space you see here for food prep is it, because then it's my sink and then my stove and oven. And on the other side is another little small counter space and the refrigerator. And that's it. So I thank you though for bearing with me. I'm going to divide the dough in half now into 2 equal looking balls. I think that's good enough. So I have some flour down on my parchment paper. I'll put a little flour on my rolling pin, and then we'll see about rolling this dough out. Okay, I've discovered it works much better if I roll the rolling pin this way as opposed to holding the handles. So that's the method that I'm going to go with. Okay, so I have my first rectangle. I don't think that looks too bad. So now I just have to do the second one. I put it on the cookie sheet so maybe you can see it a little bit better, but I don't think that's bad. I'm going to go with that. Okay, so the second rectangle went much smoother. What I did was kind of fold the edges in if it was getting out of the shape of a rectangle and roll inwards and then go back and forth. All right, so I have both of my bases done, my two 9x13. These are a little bit smaller, but I think that's fine, rectangles. So now I have to put together, it looks like, the mixture that goes on top. Okay, so beat 3 ounces of cream cheese. I have to say, I love how all these products have the cutting guide on them. Makes it so much easier. And I did have this setting out a little bit. I figured make it probably easier to blend. So I've got the cream cheese. Alright, so I have to beat the cream cheese. Sugar, lemon, and orange peel together. So I cleaned out the bowl that I had done the dough in, so that I could use that. Let's see, how much sugar? A half a cup of sugar. This is a 1/4 cup measurer, so I'll just do 2 of these. Okay, now I have to grate the lemon and orange, and so this I washed in some vinegar and water with my husband's immune system suppressed. It's very important. They said that we do that, so I made sure to do that with my produce first. So now I'm going to grate the lemon. So this I am just going to wing it for what I think is a teaspoon. And then I'll probably chop this lemon up and use it. I have some cherry Coke or cherry Pepsi, one of those. And I also have another bottle of my, actually that's what I'm going to use it for, my Dollar Tree non-alcoholic sangria. So I think it will go really nice in that. That smells delicious. So there's the lemon. Now I just got to do the orange. And this is the vinegar water I talk about. So I just put like a capful and a half of white distilled vinegar in. And then I just soak the produce around. Give it a fresh rinse. And I'm going to dry this with a paper towel so that I don't get any added liquid into my mix. And the same thing, I'll just guesstimate what a teaspoon of orange is. And I'm probably not using the best grater for this. My grater is like a big cheese grater. This does smell very festive. All right, and I think we will call that good. So I have the lemon and the orange all in now. Okay, so here is my mixture. I just now have to beat it. Nobody wants to hear that loud noise, so I'm just going to take 3 steps over to the other side of my kitchen and get this beat. Okay, I have to get my 1/2 cup of chopped nuts. So let's see, there's a 1/4 cup. Another 1/4 cup, and I will chop those up. I'm sure if it ends up a little extra, that's fine. After all, they are called walnut walkaways, so my guess is, a little more walnuts won't hurt anything. Okay, so I have my walnuts all chopped. I did them a little on the finer side because I'm not a huge fan of walnuts in cookies, so I would like to taste these when they're done, so I did them a little bit finer because the recipe doesn't say, it just says to chop the walnuts. So I've got those all set. And one of the cool things is with this recipe is I am using my mother-in-law's KitchenAid. She passed away well over 20 years ago, and I inherited her cobalt blue KitchenAid, and I know it was her pride and joy that she received one Christmas from my father-in-law. So I think it makes doing her recipes extra special using the same KitchenAid mixer that she was doing with this exact same recipe. So this was how the cream cheese, sugar, lemon, and orange zest turned out. And so it says now you spread 1/2 of this on each of the rectangles. So that's what I will do now. My hands are very clean. Plus nobody is eating these but, my husband and I. So if I was making them to give away, I'd use a spoon and not my fingers. But I did just wash my hands. Alright, I think that looks quite nice. So there's one of them. And it says to sprinkle with 1/2 the nuts. So I got 1/2 of my walnuts here. I have to say, these smell so nice. The lemon and orange peel definitely make them smell like Christmas. So there it is now, with the walnuts all sprinkled on top of the rectangle. And here's the second one with the mixture spread out on it. And here it is with the walnuts on top. Okay, so now it says to roll it like a jelly roll, doing the long side. Alright, so that worked quite nicely, and you place it seam side down on a greased cookie sheet. I am going to put parchment paper down on my cookie sheet. So here it is on the cookie sheet. So now it says cut each piece halfway through lengthwise. So I guess I'm going to get the second one rolled and put it next to this one on the cookie sheet. So I'll do that step next and show you what that looks like. Okay, so I now have both of my rolled cookie logs basically on the cookie sheet. So now it said the next step is to slice them each halfway through lengthway, it says. So I'm thinking this way though, not that way. You know what, in reading the recipe it says lengthwise. So I think I do need to go this way, because then after they're cooled you cut into 1-inch pieces on a slant. So if I cut them halfway through this way, I won't be able to cut them on a slant. So I think I'm going to slice it, since it says lengthway, halfway through this way, sprinkle it with the sugar, because then when they're cool you cut on a slant. Alright, so here goes. I'm going to go for it. That's one of the things with these like passed down recipes, not in a cookbook. The directions aren't always super clear. And you can hear my little Mika, I think, is agreeing with that. So halfway through, it's a little nerve-wracking after all that work, if this is the correct thing to do. But I'm thinking that it is. I think Mika wants some. She says, that smells good, Mommy. Okay, so that's what I did. And then the recipe says sprinkle with 10 times sugar. And I just saw on this powdered sugar, I was assuming it was powdered sugar. This says 10 time powdered cane sugar. So that's what I'm going to use. I have more of this, but figured use up this package. And I have my oven preheating to 375. All right. We're going to call it good. Once my oven hits the temp, I will pop them in. Does it even tell me how long to cook them? It does not. Bake at 375. So out here, it looks like 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm going to try the 20 minutes first and see how they look. And I will check in with you in just a little bit. So here they are out of the oven. Now, the recipe card did say 20 to 25 minutes. So I always err on the side of the shortest time first, which was 20 minutes. But mine ended up taking 32 minutes. But that could be because my mother-in-law's oven was electric and mine is gas, so I'm not sure, or just different ovens calibrated differently. So if you were going to follow this recipe at home and make it, I would still check them after the first 20 minutes and then just take it from there. Now, when you saw me right before I put them in the oven, I put the confectionery sugar on top. When I was double checking, the oven cook time, I looked at the recipe card and I realized, I believe what she meant was you sprinkle the confectionery sugar on after they have cooled. So I did my best to brush it all off. I did not film that part. And then I put them in the oven. You can still see, though, there are some little remnants of it, but I don't think it will change it. So I'm going to now let these cool the 25 minutes, dust them with the confectionery sugar, and cut them. So I will join you in just a moment. So here they are all cooled. So now I'm going to put the confectionery sugar on them. Let's see. See if I can do it a little nicer looking. Alright, I think those look quite, I better not drop them. I think those look quite attractive. So next thing is to cut them on a slant into 1-inch pieces. My trusty Dollar Tree knife. These things are great, nice and sharp. So let's see, I think I'll do the first piece kind of right on the edge. There they are, finished product. So I guess the big thing will be the taste test by my husband, but I think they look pretty festive and nice. So I'm going to give him one now and let me know what he thinks. So I am going to store them in my Dollar Tree container here. I thought this is really sweet. It has the lid, so I think this will keep them nice because it's airtight. I've already used this once this season. They're holding together surprisingly well. So now I just have to cut the second one. So I would say this whole endeavor, though, was a good 2-hour project. So definitely not quick and easy like throwing together a box of brownies, but again, you know, a family special Christmas time recipe made for special occasions. So it was worth the effort, I would say, for sure. So here they all are, looking quite beautiful. If I say so myself, these would definitely be something that I would be proud to serve on Christmas Eve on a cookie tray. But I don't believe that they would last all that long, stay fresh. They don't seem to me like a cookie you can freeze. But again, I like to space my baking out throughout the month of December so that we have a new little treat each week. So this is a thumbs up recipe that I would definitely recommend, and I can see myself in future doing this every Christmas season. So I hope you all enjoyed the bake with me doing my mother-in-law's, my late mother-in-law's recipe of walnut walkaways. They got the thumbs up from my husband, so oh, Mika's down there. She's jealous because I picked up Mr. Bryn. So in any case, if you liked the baking video, I'd love it if you would give it a thumbs up. If you're so inclined, I would love it if you would subscribe and become part of our wonderful little YouTube community. So until next time, please be well.